The leadership team at Lucid Motors has been bolstered with 7 new hires in recent weeks and months, one of which we freshly announced in a YouTube short. That means almost 50% of the management team, if we take the rank of vice president and higher, is a fresh face at Lucid. This is interesting and we believe good news, as the management is probably the most important aspect of a young company at a time where the product has not established a durable advantage yet. In this video, we'll highlight the most important changes as well as provide you with some research findings that are hopefully valuable to the Lucid investor. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Growth Stock Research. This video is structured in the following way. Number 1, the new and sole C-level executive next to Rawlinson. Number 2, just below the C-level, 1 key hiring and 2 promotions. And number 3, current leadership structure. The only C-level executive next to Peter Rawlinson does not result from an internal promotion, but from an external hire at Waymo, a subsidiary of Alphabet Inc., the parent company of Google. The fact that Rawlinson's right-hand man is a woman is not only great from a diversity standpoint, but is also interesting that she comes from a company whose software and autonomous driving focus is a great match to the EV hardware expertise in Lucid's leadership team. Sherry House is a mechanical engineer by education, holds 2 patents in automotive manufacturing, and worked for General Motors for 4 years before switching to the finance world and essentially becoming an M&A expert. She led all funding initiatives and served as executive lead in the build-out of Waymo's external LiDAR sales business, among other things. After working nearly 4 years at Waymo, House commented that the autonomous industry is a vital industry which, when realized at scale, will save lives, save time, provide superior user experiences, and improve access to mobility. Given this background, we cannot help but wonder what strings she may be able to pull with regards to acquiring companies that are also in the autonomous driving industry. Perhaps she could ink a deal with Waymo itself with regards to a cooperation with Lucid, as both are using the LiDAR technology, which Tesla, for instance, is not. And who knows? Perhaps she has some really useful insights in autonomous driving technology that Lucid can incorporate in the coming years for its cars. Just below the C-level, pun intended, we now have the 3 senior vice presidents, one of whom is a recent external hire as well by the name of Michael Bell. He most recently worked as Chief Technical Officer, CTO for short, of Rivian, another California headquartered EV startup and funded by Amazon and Ford. The CTO role at Lucid is currently occupied by the CEO, Peter Rawlinson, which may have been the reason why Michael Bell was not given the CTO role at Lucid. It is also interesting that the CTO of possibly the most promising EV startup besides Lucid in the US has left to join Rawlinson. There could be many reasons for this, but we wonder whether this is an indicator that Lucid is the more exciting project and may have the better team, technology, or both. By the way, let us know in the comments if you would like us to cover Rivian, Tesla, or other EV companies as well on this channel. One further interesting tidbit is that Mr. Bell worked for Apple for 16 years. He served also as vice president according to his LinkedIn page, playing a significant role in the development of the iPhone, iMac, among others. From the last 7 hires for the management team, 3 worked for Apple for at least 15 years. If Lucid is able to execute and establish its footprint on the EV market, having this connection to Apple may be helpful in a future collaboration, a topic we extensively covered on our channel previously. While there are currently no talks between Apple and Lucid, such connections could be valuable in the future. The other 2 senior vice presidents are Eric Bach as product and chief engineer, and Derek Jenkins, responsible for design and brand. Mr. Bach worked for almost 12 years at Volkswagen and more recently for 3 years at Tesla. He's one of 7 people in the leadership team who worked for Tesla in the past, with almost 40% of the leadership having work experience there. At Tesla, he's credited for vastly accelerating the timelines for Model S and Model X deliveries. Peter Rawlinson was the chief engineer of the Model S and left Tesla in 2012. Mr. Bach joined Tesla in 2012, so there may have been some overlap in their work there that convinced Eric Bach to join Lucid 3 years later. He's one of 3 Germans in the leadership team at Lucid. Derek Jenkins also has some ties to Germany. He started his career as external designer at the Audi headquarters in Ingolstadt, a small city with a population of around 130,000 people. For fun and for better visualization, we are going to display some of the cars Mr. Jenkins helped to design. After 4 years in Germany, he transferred to Audi of America and thereafter to the North American operations of Volkswagen and Mazda as chief designer or director of design. Mr. Jenkins has a total of 22 years of design work experience before joining Lucid in 2015. For the sake of keeping the video concise, we do not cover anyone specifically below the senior vice president level here. However, we created this diagram that shows the current leadership structure. Please note that Lucid still has some diamonds in the rough in the leadership team, such as Peter Hochholdinger, who was part of an engineering dream team at Tesla Motors, something the YouTube channel Hyperchange explained in more detail. Furthermore, we created a chart that shows who worked for what company in the past, and as mentioned previously, a large chunk of the leadership team has worked for Tesla. There seems to also be some ties to Germany, with several key members of the leadership team having worked for a German car company or being from Germany itself. What do you think? If you're interested in learning more about the management of Lucid, feel free to leave a like, as that will tell us that we should produce further videos on Lucid. Aside from deep dives of who the other people in the management of Lucid are, or their ties to Tesla and Apple, we would be interested in creating a video on the man himself, the CEO and CTO of Lucid Motors, Peter Rawlinson, as well. And as always, we will reply to every single comment. Vielen Dank.